Have you ever noticed something strange? A woman seems interested in you. She gives you attention. She responds quickly. She finds reasons to talk to you. And then, suddenly, she becomes distant. Her replies get shorter. Sometimes she doesn't reply at all. She stops initiating conversations. She seems completely fine without you. And naturally, your mind goes to the same conclusion. She's losing interest. But what if you're making the biggest mistake by assuming you already know what her silence means? Because sometimes, when a woman becomes distant, she's not simply trying to get rid of you. Sometimes, she's watching. She's watching what you do when her attention disappears. She's watching whether you panic. Whether you chase. Whether you become desperate. Whether you suddenly change your personality just to get her attention back. Or whether you remain calm enough to let her reveal what she actually wants. And that distinction is incredibly important. Because if you misunderstand her distance, you can destroy attraction that was actually there. But there's something even more important you need to understand. Not every woman who ignores you is testing you. Sometimes she's genuinely losing interest. Sometimes she's busy. Sometimes she's emotionally overwhelmed. And sometimes, she's simply not interested. So today, we're going deeper than the usual dating advice. We're going to look at the psychological behaviors that can make her distance meaningful, and how to respond without chasing, manipulating, or playing childish games. Because the real question isn't, how do I make her chase me? The real question is, what is her behavior telling me about the relationship between us? And once you understand that, you stop reacting emotionally. And start seeing the situation clearly. 1. Her distance appears after you show interest. Here's the first pattern to notice. You show her genuine interest. You become more available. You start initiating conversations. You make it obvious that you like her. And then suddenly, she pulls back. This is where many men make their first mistake. They think, I need to try harder. So they send another message. Then another. They ask, are you okay? Did I do something? Why are you ignoring me? And eventually, the woman receives exactly what she was watching for. Panic. Now, this doesn't automatically mean she intentionally created distance as a test. Human behavior is rarely that simple. But if someone becomes distant after realizing how strongly you're interested, they may be trying to understand one thing. Does he actually like me, or does he simply want my attention? There's a difference. Anyone can become obsessed with getting attention from someone who seems unavailable. But genuine interest remains stable even when the excitement disappears. That's why emotional composure matters. If she becomes slightly less available and you immediately become twice as available, you've communicated something without saying a word. You've shown her that your emotional state depends heavily on her response. And that's rarely attractive. 2. She watches whether you chase her. This is where the phrase, she's testing you, can become misleading. You shouldn't assume she's deliberately running an experiment on you. Instead, think about it this way. People naturally observe how others behave when circumstances change. Imagine you've been talking every day. Then she takes a step back. What happens? Do you respect the space? Or do you suddenly send 5 messages? Do you continue living your life? Or does your entire attention become focused on getting her response? That reaction tells her something about you. And here's the paradox. The harder you chase someone who is pulling away, the less opportunity you give them to miss you. You're constantly filling the silence. They never experience your absence. They never have to wonder where you are. They never have the chance to feel the difference between having your attention and not having it. But there's another side to this. Silence isn't supposed to become a weapon. You shouldn't disappear just to punish her. You shouldn't ignore her to make her jealous. You shouldn't manufacture scarcity. Because once attraction becomes a psychological game, both people lose. Healthy confidence sounds more like, I like you, but I don't need to force you to like me back. That is the energy you want. 3. She becomes warmer when you stop over-pursuing. Here's an interesting pattern. Sometimes a woman becomes distant. And when the man stops constantly pursuing her, she starts coming back. She messages. She reacts to his stories. She finds an excuse to talk. She suddenly seems interested again. Why? There are several possibilities. Maybe she genuinely missed the connection. Maybe she was overwhelmed by how quickly things were moving. Maybe she was unsure about her feelings. Maybe she wanted to see whether the connection existed beyond constant attention. Or maybe she simply noticed that the attention she had become accustomed to was no longer there. But here's what matters. Her returning doesn't automatically mean she wants a relationship. Don't turn one message into a love story. Look for consistency. Anyone can send. Hey stranger. Anyone can like a story. Anyone can appear at midnight when they're lonely. Real interest is demonstrated through repeated behavior. Does she make an effort? Does she initiate? Does she ask about you? Does she make time? Does she communicate consistently? That's where you find the answer. Not in one mysterious text. 4. She gives you mixed signals. This is one of the most confusing situations. One day she seems extremely interested. The next day, she's cold. Then she becomes warm again. Then distant. Then she suddenly starts looking for your attention. This creates something psychologically powerful. Uncertainty. And uncertainty can make people think about someone far more than certainty does. When you know exactly where you stand, your mind can relax. But when you don't know, your brain keeps searching for answers. You replay conversations. You analyze messages. You wonder what changed. You check whether she's online. You look at her stories. And suddenly, you're emotionally invested in solving the mystery. But don't confuse psychological tension with genuine attraction. Sometimes mixed signals mean attraction. Sometimes they mean confusion. Sometimes they mean emotional immaturity. And sometimes they mean she doesn't know what she wants. Your job isn't to decode every tiny behavior. Your job is to look at the overall pattern. Consistency beats chemistry. Effort beats hints. Actions beat speculation. Remember that. 5. She becomes more curious when you stop explaining yourself. Another behavior can be revealing. You don't feel the need to constantly prove yourself. You don't explain where you are every second. You don't tell her every detail of your day just to keep her interested. You have your own life. Your work. Your friends. Your goals. Your responsibilities. Your interests. And because you're not desperately trying to keep her attention, she has room to become curious about you. This is not about pretending to be unavailable. It's about actually having a life that doesn't revolve around one person. There's a massive difference. Fake mystery says, I'm going to hide so she'll chase me. Real confidence says, I'm busy building a life I respect. The second one is powerful because it's not an act. And people can often feel the difference. 6. She tests your emotional reaction without saying it. Sometimes the most revealing moment isn't what she does. It's what happens when you don't get what you want. Maybe she doesn't reply immediately. Maybe she disagrees with you. Maybe she cancels plans. Maybe she needs space. Maybe she isn't ready to give you the reassurance you want. How do you respond? Do you become angry? Do you guilt trip her? Do you suddenly become cold? Do you try to make her jealous? Or can you communicate like an emotionally mature adult? Because attraction isn't only about how exciting you are when everything is going well. It's also about who you become when things don't go your way. A man who can remain grounded without becoming emotionally detached communicates something powerful. I care about you, but I can handle myself. That's very different from, if you don't give me attention, I'll punish you. One creates safety. The other creates anxiety. 7. The biggest mistake, trying to pass the test. Here's the part most dating videos won't tell you. If you spend your entire relationship trying to figure out whether she's testing you, you've already lost focus. Because now you're not connecting with her. You're performing for her. You're asking, should I reply now? Should I wait 3 hours? Should I leave her on read? Should I post this story? Should I make her jealous? Should I disappear? And suddenly, every interaction becomes a strategy. That's not attraction. That's anxiety wearing a disguise. Instead, ask yourself 3 simple questions. Does she show interest? Does she make effort? Does she treat me with respect? If the answer is consistently yes, you don't need to play games. If the answer is consistently no, you don't need to chase harder. That's emotional clarity. Oh, what should you actually do when she pulls away? Here's the simple framework. First, don't panic. Give the situation enough space to reveal itself. Second, don't punish her. You don't need to become cold just because she became distant. Third, don't over-pursue. If you've already shown interest, you don't need to prove it 10 more times. Fourth, watch her actions. Not one message. Not one story view. Not one day. Look at the pattern. And finally, keep living your life. Not because you want her to become jealous. Not because you're trying to manipulate her into chasing you. But because your identity should never depend on someone's attention. If she comes closer because she genuinely wants to, great. If she doesn't, you've still protected your dignity. And that is the difference between emotional strength and emotional dependence. The truth you need to remember. Maybe she is testing how much you want her. Maybe she's uncertain. Maybe she's protecting herself. Maybe she's losing interest. Maybe she's simply dealing with something you know nothing about. You cannot know someone's internal world from one behavior. And that's the lesson. Stop trying to read her mind. Read the pattern. Because when someone genuinely wants to build something with you, eventually their behavior becomes clearer. They make time. They communicate. They come closer. They make effort. They don't leave you permanently trapped in confusion. And if someone repeatedly gives you just enough attention to keep you waiting, but never enough effort to build anything real, don't call that a psychological test. Sometimes, it's simply your answer. So the next time she pulls away, don't immediately ask, how do I get her back? Ask something much more powerful. What happens when I stop trying to control the outcome? Because that's where your power returns. You don't need to chase someone into loving you. You don't need to manipulate someone into missing you. You don't need to become someone else just to keep their attention. Show interest. Communicate honestly. Give space when it's needed. Watch their actions. And then make your decision based on reality. Not hope. Because the most attractive thing you can develop isn't the ability to make someone chase you. It's the ability to remain yourself. Even when the person you want isn't giving you the answer you hoped for. And sometimes, the moment you stop chasing an answer, you finally see the truth. She was never the question. Your self-respect was. If this video made you look differently at someone's silence, don't keep that insight to yourself. Subscribe to Psyche Sync, because we're not here to teach you cheap tricks to manipulate people. We're here to understand human nature. relationships, attraction, and the psychology behind the behaviors we often misunderstand. And if you're currently dealing with someone who has suddenly become distant, watch the next video on your screen. Because sometimes, the most revealing thing someone can do isn't what they say. It's what they do when they think you're finally going to walk away.